Sometimes fake.
All right, so 5 years. And you're going to tell me that, what? What do you think of this? Because if I see you going, then I see you going, what?
I feel very strongly about this. I always have. When you made that spiritual commitment, you committed to each other. Okay, and if you cannot commit to each other, then what can you not commit to? Your children, raising them, showing them right from wrong.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Sure, you got my gun. Your mic.
I understand, and I think that your choice is great for you. I think the place that I learned from personally is looking at where we get these kinds of beliefs and having the conversation with ourselves. Like, is really sexual fidelity the best measure of commitment to a relationship?
And I want to see, and I'm getting where you're coming from, because when people go to church and they go to wedding and they say this was what was meant to be, let me stop you for a second, because everything that you in this country believe about marriage, I'm going to say to you, is a complete lie. You used to stand in front of a community and tie your hands together, and guess what? The idea of marriage, up until about 1300, was for a year and a day.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of that time, if you chose to do it again in front of the public and your community, it could be another year and a day, or you could say, we'll stay together for life. But back then, the majority of relationships were kind of like this. Women would have a child with one man, and maybe at the end of 2 years, move on from that relationship, and the whole community didn't ostracize you for that.
Commitment isn't necessarily something that's legislated or sanctioned by a specific organization or institution. Commitments are things that you commit to, things that you promise, that you say, I'm going to do this. And you can have that kind of commitment with someone by choice.
And let me do this. I got to take a break. But let me tell you, what's going on in these relationships, and it's just to make sure that we understand what's going on here. They are as committed in their external relationships as some people are in a single partner union.
Absolutely.
Now, I can tell you, I'm saying this for you, I got to take a break. That's the part that I'm tripping on, because I'm going to tell you, I couldn't have that much estrogen around me at any given time. It's dangerous. I got to be. Let me take a break when we back right after that.
Amy and I are not lovers.
We're friends.
Beyond friends. She is like a family member to me.
Yeah.
We help each other do our lives better.
Yeah.
But okay.
Every woman needs a wife.
You can love everybody as much as you want to at the same time if you feel like it. God made husband and wife, Adam and Eve, not no Adam and Eve and Rebecca, you know what I'm saying? That's not going down.
You know, if I hear another person tell me God made Adam and Eve and try to translate that into this millennium, I'm going to choke on myself. He didn't make Adam, Eve, and Rebecca. Ooh, okay, anyway. So tell me, let's start with you. Now, how do these two fit in to the three of you? Because she's your girlfriend.
Right.
But she's your girlfriend.
Yeah.
But she's both your girlfriends.
Right.
Yeah.
But time to time, she's just your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Lucky girl. Time to time, she's just your girlfriend. You ain't kidding, lucky girl. Lucky dude. What up with you? I think so. And then I said it earlier. It's like, yeah, there are a lot of men probably looking at this going, oh yeah, I wish I was aching. I wish I was aching. But on one of those mornings, you know the morning when she wakes up and can't find the Tylenol. And she wakes up and remembers that last night you left the toilet seat up. And you walk into the kitchen, and at the exact same moment, you got both of them right there. Do you ever?
It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, shit. How do you work this out then?
Well, we work different pieces of it out in different ways. One of the pieces is that Kay has her own place.
Okay.
I do not live with them.
So if she's having a bad day, she's unlikely to come over.
Okay. All right. And then, but then when you do come over, do you leave?
No.
No?
No. Three of us.
It depends on the date.
Well,
If I'm having a date just with Kay, then Dawn gets the bedroom and I get the guest room, or...
So now that's going on here, but at the same time, you have been going with Gary for how long?
24 years.
81.
Huh?
That's
1981.
commitment.
You've been married for how long?
15 years.
Right.
You getting this over here? Now watch this. She's been committed to him for 20-something. You got another boyfriend on the side too?
I see a couple of other people, yeah.
But see,
Now who's
wait,
talking
now I don't understand it again. I thought this was about, because if it's just about going out and having fun, then where's the relationship in the other people? You mean to tell me you were in love with 5 people?
Sure. Are you not in love with all of your children?
Yeah, but I ain't sleeping with my kids. Nor will I ever.
The human capacity for love is not limited.
Have you fallen out of love with everyone you've ever fallen in love with? I still love the first man I ever fell in love with.
Yes, ma'am.
People enjoy the complexity of these kinds of relationships. And what I've learned is that there are specific skill sets that intimacy or relationship requires that we're not necessarily born with, that we need to learn.
Like what?
Being able to be a very strong individual and yet also be deeply involved and loving with another person seems to be what most people want in relationships.
Okay, a love with another person, but not another and another
but
and
the
another.
thing, how do we define love? I mean, one of the things, the conversations that I encourage people to have, how do you define love and how do you define sex? And how do you define...
Well, now we sounding like Bill Clinton. Come on. I know what sex is.
How do you define sex?
I didn't stand up for a second. Miss, I'm shaking my head back and forth. How long have you been in this relationship, Amy?
5.5 years.
How long have you been in this relationship, Julio?
2 1/4.
2 1/4. So now, Gary, you've been involved with Dawn for how long?
24.
And you are his fiance. Why would you let your fiance go across the country and be with her, what, once a month, twice a month?
As often as we can.
Yeah.
Well, wait, so go ahead.
But she's saying, you know, she has a couple other people, and then what happens when something falls apart and say you lose that girlfriend, and then you guys find somebody new?
Then you
And
have a
you
support
find-
structure
and
to
then
help you work through
It
the
just
difficult
seems to me
patch.
that, you know, it's another way. I mean,
We
just
also have,
like regular couples.
Established.
Wait, go ahead. You have something to say? Yes, ma'am. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
For these two couples,
Yes.
is it homosexual and lesbian too?
I'm sorry, I'm
No,
not sure.
not for them.
Oh, no,
for
talking
the-
about us.
Yeah.
No, I mean, for us, we're basically just partnered, Nan and I and Amy and John.
Do you
But that's
explore
not
that,
really that relevant, actually.
The piece that people miss out on, because we get so like hot triggered about sex, is the emotional connection and the support that the same-sex couples give each other, the same-sex people. Amy and I are not lovers,
We're friends.
beyond friends. She is like a family member to me. We help each other do our lives better.
Yeah.
But okay.
Every
but-
woman needs a wife.
On that note, I gotta take a break. We'll be back right after this.